Nope, there we are. We are live. It is Saturday Night Live. Let's see. Who's coming in tonight? Who's going to say hi? Got a fly flying around down here. We're doing all kinds of yard work all day, and the garage door's been open, so now there's flies down here. Nice. Let's see. Anyone coming in tonight? There we go. Now we're getting people in here. So I got one person in here right now. Go say hello. Make sure my mic is working and all that good stuff is working. So let me know if you are in here. All right, so I can, make sure you guys can hear me. How's that sound? You guys hear me all right? Well, I got one thumbs up. There we go. Hey, what's up, Brent? Wes, 10 mil. How's it going, man? Doing good? Now, there we go. Now the people are coming in. So 6 people in here got 2 thumbs up. How about we mix those people in here with the thumbs up? Loud and clear. Lima Charlie. All right. Sounds good, man. Sounds good. Evening. You're coming in loud and clear. Cool. Roger that. There we go. So we're getting all, everyone's showing up in here. So we got 8 people. We got 2 thumbs up. Got my Scooby Doo shirt on. We are good to go. you, I hear you find Jarhead. Oh, there you go. I was like, yeah, oh, I got it. The Samurai Daddy, Emerson, Hillbilly 74. Brent was in here. Who else we got in here? So besides that ridiculous fly that keeps flying around here. Let's see. Who else we got? Harris, how's it going from Dallas? David, good to see you. Freaking fly. This is going to just annoy me. It's like I have my lights on over here, so it's bang, bang, slamming into them. Like, oh, come on, man. All right, so let's get going, guys. So, okay, so here we go. Woohoo! There you go. What's up, Wes? Harris, good to go. So, I was going over some of the questions that I didn't see any good questions for the last week that anyone came up with. So, this is just going to be a good old fashioned live video, live with Matt. So, we're just going to be talking about whatever we feel like talking about, the changing seasons, bass fishing, concealed carry, open carry, whatever you guys want to talk about. This is what it is here tonight. So go ahead and feel free to start up a conversation in the comments. Go ahead and talk to me, and we'll get going on various topics to talk about. All right. So first things first, I got to tell you that my favorite fishing spot. I was planning on going fishing this weekend, but I can't. My favorite fishing spot is all screwed because we had so much rain that literally what's going on right now is that there's soccer fields literally right next to my lake that we go to, and you go out there and it is so flooded because there's like the Farmington River does like an L shape around this pond that the water is like on the lake. So I think the bass are playing soccer at the moment. That would be my guess. But so I couldn't really go fishing today or yesterday because of it. So I basically been doing yard work. Texas as of September 1st, no CC permit. There you go. Awesome, man. So basically, when it came down to it, guys, this is my day today. I did yard work. On top of yard work, I cleaned a lot of my guns because I felt like cleaning my guns because it seemed like a thing to do. Hence why I got that stuff over there. Sharpened a few knives, and then I had some dinner. That was the extent of my day. So how was everyone else doing in here? 1911s are not scary. Enjoyed that video, buddy. They are not scary at all, especially if you know how to use them. As a matter of fact, if you know how to use them, they are damn good guns, and they've been damn good guns for over a century, right? And all in the military will tell you the same thing. It's been a damn good gun for over a century. So I love them. I know I'll try to get some more 1911 videos out there for you guys. I know a lot of people come into this channel because of the actual 1911 videos, so I should probably throw some more out there for you. Just adjusting the camera. There we go. So how is everybody doing this weekend? Hey, can't go wrong with that. 760 by 39 opinion, hard hitting round, same problem. I have a 30-06. My shoulder hate me after shooting it. I've never had that. I've never had an issue with a 762 by 39. I've shot plenty of AKs and it just worked fine for me. Yeah, when it comes like 30-06 and stuff like that, when you have 308, when you have just a standard wooden stock or something like that, it usually hurts. But every time I shot the AK, I've never had an issue with it. Maybe you're not pushing it into your shoulder enough, right? Could be it. How's it going, Joe? Usually when you shoot it, you got to have it pushed into your shoulder very well, so your shoulder kind of deals with some of the recoil. I've never had an issue with 762 by 39. See, what else we got? Any other questions people want to go on there? Like I said, here it is. What do you think about the government ban on Soviet weapons ammo? I noticed local gun stores running low again. It's rise above. I try to stay out of the politics, but I'll tell you what. Um, it happens time and time again when it comes to the presidents. If you look at, there was a super crazy ammo shortage, and a lot of ammo was prevented from coming in the U.S. back during the Obama administration. Go figure. Who was the vice president during the Obama administration? Yeah, you got it. You know who that was. So guess what happens? So they can't ban guns because everyone's fighting back about guns. So what they're going to do, they're going to start banning what ammo they can. Or like what Obama did, they bought up all kinds of ammo like crazy, tons of rounds, even the crazy, critical duty zombie rounds, just because they got green tips. And they bought them up so much that it becomes an ammo shortage. So those are my thoughts on that, and I've never been a fan of it. Oh, all right. So what else? We got any more questions or anything in here? I see 13 people in here, only 6 thumbs up. It'd be nice if we had 13 thumbs up to mix those 13 people that are in here. Let's see. Puppies running up and down the stairs. What other questions we got? Got any more in here? I'm good. We got the night. Even the post office bought ammo back then. Yep. Try both thumbs down like a revolver. Street player, thumbs down like a revolver. I don't know. I'd hope you give me a thumbs up instead in this video, but I guess thumbs down work too. Haters, hate. But I'll tell you what. Those haters give you content, and they give you, videos I do with the haters, and they also give you views because they go and specifically talk trash about your video. Well, guess what? That still gives traffic, right? Recommended grip for semi-automatic pistol. Been trying for 2 thumbs forward grip lately. Semi-automatics, yep, 2 thumbs forward, best way to do it, unless you are doing the weaver stance and then you want to use your thumb and kind of do the thumbs down technique. So, or you can do thumbs up or thumbs forward, but you're cross thumbs when you're doing a weaver stance. So, yeah, but I prefer thumbs up. Oh no, you get a triple thumbs up. Oh, I appreciate that, man. That sounds good, Joe. I like the 3 thumbs up. So, what's everyone doing out there? I know my kids are back in school. Anyone else's kids back in school? My cousins are out already playing football in their high school and stuff like that. I stay out of politics too in terms of firearms and firearms laws. A single person's opinion is like a fart in a hurricane. I agree, man. When someone farts in a hurricane, he never knows where it's going to go, right? So 3-day weekend. Yeah, I know. Tell me about it. 3-day weekend. And all 3 of my kids are home and going crazy. They're absolutely going crazy. Hey, Matt, having issues in getting AR with red dot on paper at 50 yards. Other optics run perfect after bore setting. Thoughts? What I would start, if you're having a hard time of getting it on the target within 50 yards, go out to about 15 yards if you can. Like I said, 15 to 20 yards. And you want to set it up because your optic could be way, way off. Okay, so the zero could be completely off on it. So bring it in closer so you can see the actual where the rounds are going on target, and then try to center it where it is. Then you push it farther back to do it. The other possibility that you could be having is I'm not as familiar with red dots as I am with scopes, but when you're looking through it, you have to have the right what you call the eye relief in it. So you have to make sure it is centered up when you're looking through it too. Otherwise, the rounds are going to be all over the place. Usually tell by the outside of it, kind of it's hard to explain. It's like the blurriness that goes into it. You just got to line it up. But I'd recommend if you can't get it on target, then bring the target in closer to see where the rounds are going, and then make adjustments just to get it on the paper or on the target, and then push it farther back. And that's when you start getting your zero in. That's how I do it with a rifle. When I do a rifle, I go about 15, 25, about 25 yards, usually what my range lets me do. If I'm trying to zero it, I go to 25 yards just to get it on paper. That's all I'm trying to do is just to get it on the paper so I can see where it's going. Then I push it to 50 yards to kind of make sure it's on paper, but I zero it for 100 yards. And then once I go out to the 100 yards, that's when I get the set zero in. But a lot of times you just got to bring it in closer just to kind of get the optic on paper so you can see what you're doing, and then get it out to where you want to zero. All right, so there you go. There it is. That's right. There it is. If I'm talking too fast, guys, let me go because I just had some damn good chili and I'm feeling good right now. So I'm actually back in my keto program. I'm going back to keto. So every single meal I've been having has been basically a keto meal, and I feel pretty good. The last couple of weeks, I had a headache last week, but I'm back to good on it now. So yeah, just word of notice. If anyone's doing a keto diet for any reason whatsoever, the first 2 weeks are going to suck. Because when you're taking all that sugar out, you are going to have what they call the keto flu. You're gonna feel like crap. You're gonna be angry and hangry, right? And so I make myself a keto chili, no beans, just veggies and stuff like that. Yep, that's how I lose weight too, man. So I could do crazy athletics and stuff like that, but my knees just can't take it like it used to. So me, I go keto. I do keto, and if this right here, the program I learned about Code Red. The person who created it, she's kind of crazy, but it's a good program. So what's the best ammo for your Rock Island 1911 best hollow points? Usually when it comes to my actual 1911, I primarily use ball ammunition. If you can see it up in here, these are my, right? I usually use my ball ammunition for a 1911. But when it comes to ammo for my Rock Island, I haven't had any issues with Federal HST 230 grain. That stuff works fine. I use Winchester White Box. That's the Winchester White Box jacketed hollow point, also 230 grains. I've never had an issue with that either. I've also used actually Federal, let's see, Federal 203 grain plus P. I think it was another HST, but it was a plus P, which I was like, yeah, plus P in a 1911, but I tried it and it worked. I had never had any issues with those ones. So you just got to make sure the round is actually, the actual bullet itself is a more rounded and not like the squared off kind of jacketed hollow point that you see in a lot of 9mm and whatnot. So is that ball aiming a Winchester White Box? This right here, actually, this is a mix between Winchester White Box and Remington UMC. No, that's what I worked. So 230 grains and that stuff works. So it works. I've never had issues with that ammunition when it comes to my 1911 ever. So it just functions. It just functions very well. So all right, any more questions, guys? Come keep it going. Can you do the video on your plate carrier setup if you own one? I don't own a plate carrier setup. And I just don't own one out here in the civilian world. I never really got it. I had all that crap in the Marine Corps, and I can see why people want to use it and stuff like that. But as a civilian, I focus on concealed carry and be the gray man mentality. So I just don't have plate carriers and stuff like that. Now, if there was someone that wanted to send me one or something like that, then yeah, I'd do a review on it. But me, honestly, is like I just don't use plate carriers. So. I mean, extent of my tactical gear, I guess if you want to say, besides my bags, I have a drop holster that I set up, coming with my, it's old school kind of version of it, the different gun belts and the actual nylon holster and stuff like that. But it's my setup for a drop holster, and it works. Do you have any recommendations, suggestions for belts to concealed carry? I seem to have. Oh yeah, absolutely, man. I wear one main belt. I wear Core Essentials belt. Core Essentials make some really good belts. They have like kind of a. I'm wearing one right now. Yeah, my other one's upstairs. I'm wearing the Garrison one. Basically, it's like a web belt. It basically is like a web belt, and inside there's like a core technology what makes it heavy duty. Like if you squeeze it, like going the up and down, it will not break. It will not crumple on itself or anything like that. It just won't do that because it holds up the weight of the gun. So I'm a big fan of Core Essentials. I've also had there's a lot of people who make them nowadays. Yeah, Core does it. Who else is doing it? I think God, what the name is? Raw Dog Tactical. I think they make holsters. I think they have a belt in it too. Who else we got? No, just look up gun belt. Other ones I like is I have some good leather ones, and I would go on eBay and I'd actually get handmade Amish belts, leather belts, and it's actually you look up concealed carry belts or CCW belts, and they Amish ones, and they'll actually have those in their heavy duty double stitched leather and stuff like that too. I also have a Winchester one that's specifically designed for carry, a Winchester belt. That's also very thick and double stitched, so it holds up the weight very well. So that's what I use when it comes to my belts and whatnot. So we got 20 people on here, and we still only have 9 thumbs up. What's going on, people? Am I not talking right? You don't like how I'm talking today? No. Let's see. What else? Do we have any more questions out there? Let's see. What do we got? What do we got, people? It's Saturday night. The chat is open. The party, I don't know if you want to call it a party, but we're open for business. So go ahead and ask your questions as it is, or just talk, or whatever you want to do, guys. So, heck, we could talk about Bigfoot if you want. Or we could talk about Elvis, because Elvis is my man. Let's see, come on, where is it, people? And no questions out there? Come on, guys. I don't get that many questions there anymore. So you come in here, you have this option, you can talk to me directly, and we're good to go. I know I'm not as cool as I used to be with my beer when I do these videos, but it is what it is. So I can't drink beer in my keto diet. So let's see. What else we got here? Not seeing anything there. All right, guess I'll just start rambling on. How's that sound? So we got the changing seasons that are going to be coming up here, guys, and you will be looking for go look for some videos on that. I got some new holsters that are going to be coming up. How about reloading? I don't reload, man. I don't. I leave it for the professionals to reload. I've seen too many guns explode, literally explode, because of people reloading and not knowing how to do it right. So I'll just leave it to the professionals. So we have the changing seasons coming up, which means I have some holsters that I'll be bringing out. I have outside the waistband. I actually have a decent amount of outside the waistband holsters I picked up. And I'm going to be doing videos about them because with the changing seasons, once it starts getting colder, we got more warning layers. Hey, Art Bell, I was a big fan of Art Bell, man. Art Bell was awesome, okay? I could tell you all about Art Bell. Art Bell was great. So, because you answer questions before they are asked. Oh, there you go, Joe. Well, I guess I'm psychic or some crazy stuff. So, Art Bell, I love Art Bell, man. Let's see. Chamber 760 by 39, just put one together. I've never actually shot one, Brent, one out of 762 by 39. Every AR-15 I've ever shot is a 5.56. That's all I've ever shot to it. Now they also have like 6.56, I believe it is. That was a thing they had out a while ago. And then they have the new military stuff set up. Ooh, Zongay Public setup choice. I'll talk about that here in a minute. There is a with the new rifles that are going into the military, unless Biden cancels that out. It's like a 6.5 or it's like a six. I remember. I think it's like a 6.8 or 6.5 round that they're using for that. So, but anyway, first I'll talk about Art Bell here, and then I'll talk about my zombie setup here. All right, so I got out of the Marine Corps back out in 2006, and then I did security for a couple of years. And when I did security, it was kind of the late shift, graveyard shift, and stuff like that. And this was in the middle of Arizona. And what happened is I was out there and I was turned on to AM 550 because I was just scanning the channels. I'm like, there's got to be something other than music because I was just struggling to stay awake when I first started doing it. And I found this creepy show and they were talking about Mothman. I think it was Mothman. Was it Mothman? It might have been Mothman or something like that. I'm like, man, that's kind of cool. And I started listening to it. And then I realized that this guy's name was Art Bell. And Art Bell, and had an entire paranormal and crazy radio station that he had that went on Coast to Coast AM. And I listened to it every single night. I literally started looking forward to it because the stories were so great. I mean, my shifts were like 12-hour graveyard shifts. Sometimes 16 hours. I became a supervisor, and after that, I was on salary and I was doing 16 hours at a time. And I would look forward to every single night around that time. We're like, oh, all right, it's about to start. And I turned on to Art Bell, right? And I just loved it. I mean, I just absolutely loved Art Bell. He was a good guy, good fun to listen to. UFOs, Bigfoot, Mothman, ghost stories, what are they, remote viewing. It was just cool stuff. And I'm a geek like that, so I like that cool stuff. So, zombie apocalypse. You guys wanted me to talk a little bit about zombie apocalypse, so I can do that. I've talked a little bit about my apocalyptic, kind of setups, and I did some videos on that in the past. So, what's the basics you want to know? Like, what would I carry, or my tactics, or what do you guys want to hear about it? Any dry fire drill suggestions? Dry fire drill suggestions is simply as a concealed carrier is simply pulling it out of the holster and getting rounds on target at a good speed, shooting from cover, that type of thing. That's the best drills you could do. That's what I do. I mean, I do that a lot. I just pull it out of the gun, get it on target and shoot. Then I move from different directions, shoot behind cover and whatnot. And that's just how I work. And then if I have like my double action pistol, like my Beretta, I'll set up 2 targets or multiple targets. And I go between targets of transitioning because it's just a double action shot. And I'm just practicing my double action shots. Now, one thing you do want to do is if you're doing dry fire practices, so carry choices for zombie apocalypse. Okay, we'll get into that one. So when I'm doing dry fire practice, when I'm using a double action, I work a lot. I primarily work on the double action trigger because you need to master that trigger. So I primarily do it on that, and it's nice because you don't have to keep racking the slide every time to do it. So my setup for a zombie apocalypse. Well, so we're going to have to go fictional because these days, obviously, zombie apocalypse is fictional. These days, I'm a dad of 3 and stuff like that, so I wouldn't be out my own and trying to survive out in the wilds. I'd be trying to get my family to safety the best possible way I can. So What would I carry? There's zombie apocalypse. So first things first, I would wear thick clothing, the thickest clothing I could, which would probably be jeans, doubling up the socks, being my kind of my tall boots, tall leather boots or my work boots with composite toes and stuff like that. I'd be wearing those. I'd want to, if at all possible, I'd want to cover up my arms. I don't know. Some people say phone books or stuff like that. Me, I just don't see the agility in that. So it'd be a thick, thick jacket that I wear, like my Columbia jacket. I hope it wouldn't be too hot at the time, just to prevent anything up close in person from biting off flesh and turning you into a zombie, obviously. But when it comes to my actual carry, what I would be carrying would probably be the gun that I would have on me because I carry a lot of guns and I'm pretty familiar with every single one that I have. It could be anything from my 1911 to my 92X to one of my Glocks. So do you have preference in knife brands? Just pick one up from. Yeah, I'll show you the knife here in a minute. I'll pull it out so I remember it. Um, but ideally, I would go the cool factor. By zombie apocalypse, I'd go with a cool factor, so I'd go 1911. Just because, Resident Evil was awesome and she was cool with Double Colt 1911. So I would go with a cool factor of the 1911s. I would have my shotgun, my 12 gauge, my H&R. I'd be using that out there. And that would be my primary go-to would be the shotgun because I got a ton of shells. Whether it's just this target shells, bird shells, I have double out buck and stuff like that too. I would have that because more than likely it's going to be up close and in person. And so it'd probably be my shotgun and my 1911 is what I would carry. And the 1911 specifically because it's a cool factor. In the real world, it would be whatever gun I'm carrying at the time, and I usually carry extra ammunition on me. Actually, you just bring the extra ammunition with me for that specific gun too. But yeah, that would be my setup, and I'd have my knife and stuff like that, and nothing crazy with that. But when it comes to my actual knives, so you wanted to ask what my favorite knife is. I've had this one for a couple of years now. This is a Kershaw. Okay, I'm a big fan of the Kershaw. Okay, here we go. I don't know if you guys can see it all right. I've always been a big fan of Kershaws. They make really good blades. And this blade is like ridiculously sharp. And I like kind of this. I don't know if it's what they call it, a Tonto blade. I don't know the exacts. But because of it, the way how the tip is on this thing is great for opening boxes. I barely have to touch the tape on it because it's so sharp and just like very fine. The tip is just so fine on it. It's very thin. It's very balanced. It doesn't wiggle, doesn't wobble or anything like that. And the way how it has a curve in my hand, it just fits very well in my hand. So this would be the knife that my preferred carry knife would be a Kershaw. So I've always liked them. I was introduced to Kershaw back in my Marine Corps days. Yeah, we'd go to the PX in 29 Palms, the PX, and they had a bunch of different stuff. I remember the coolest pocket knife I saw in that room because it was cool, tactical looking. Because I was young at the time, young and dumb at the time, and it was a Kershaw. And I picked it up, and it was a spring-loaded Kershaw. Now I made a mistake with it because I was trying to put it in my pocket once, or how exactly happened, and it popped open and gave me a little cut in my leg. But I learned. And then after that, it's become kind of my favorite brand of knife when it comes to a pocket knife is a Kershaw. So there's that question there. So you got my zombie apocalypse set up. Whatever pistol I have on me, preferably in 1911 with extra ammunition. My shotgun. I actually have a vest. It's a, how's it going, Hunts? I have a vest in here that I use. It's my home defense shotgun vest that I use. That you throw out. It's literally designed to hold shot shells or shot shells in general. And that's what I wear. It's not like a tactical vest, guys. They call it a Ranger vest. An old school Ranger vest, I think, is a Rothko. And basically, it's got a bunch of loops where you actually put the shells in there and stuff like that, and pockets and stuff like that. And that's actually, I use that for my home defense setup for years. That vest and a drop holster. And I have that down here. Nowadays, in my home setup, I have my pistol and a lockbox and stuff like that too. But back in the day, when I didn't have fancy lockbox and stuff like that, I would have it in a drop leg holster setup. So if something happened in the middle of the night, I just grab the drop leg holster, put it on, and get ready to go. Had all my ammo on it, had my extra mags, had my knife on it, had my gun on it. And at the time, it was my M&P is what I use, M&P 40, and that was my setup for years. So there you have it. So any other questions out there, guys? So we answered the zombie apocalypse, my setup there. So we talked about what other stuff. So I've got several 1911s. There's something about the 1911s that keeps pulling me back to them. I hear you, William, man. There's 1911s. 1911s, by far, are one of the best pointing guns that you can pick up. One of the best pointing guns you can pick up, probably the best trigger that you'll actually feel on a gun because it's got that nice single action trigger. The way how it feels, the width is just like the perfect width. Some people like the big fat stuff. You know, I can use the fat stuff too, and I have fat stuff too. But I like the thinness of the 1911. It's like the perfect grip for me, and it's always been like the perfect grip for me. And the trigger is just great, and the sights are great. And literally, the second I pull it out on the target, my thumb's on that safety, and that safety's down, and my sight, my eyes, my sights are completely lined up. So the best target, if you see this in pretty much all my videos, this target over here, that's all 1911. If I remember, that was like over 200 some odd rounds that I took with my 1911 on that one target. Like literally with a 1911, I could like literally, I was trying to carve out these parts over here when I was shooting it, just because it was just a point and shoot. Wherever I pointed, it would hit. And I was just like, oh, I'm going to hit those, but they just kept folding on me. I'm like, oh, I want to knock them off. So let's see. I saw something about trigger time. So let's see. Do you have any trigger time in any of the optics ready in 1911s? No, man, I'm not an optic person. And I've never been a fan of the optics on pistols. In general, it just makes them bulkier, makes them for me, a little bit off balance. And I'm just not a huge optic fan. If it requires batteries, I don't need it, right? So in the Marine Corps, we were taught how to use iron sights when it came to our M16s as well. And I just kind of had that mentality for a long time is if I really want to reach out, I'll use my rifle, my 308 that has an actual scope on it. But I like my iron sights just because they're quick to get to. They take little to no maintenance, right? Literally little to no maintenance to actually maintain. I don't need batteries. I don't need to swap them out. And then I see some people that they put an optic on a sight and they take the sights off. I'm like, dude, what happens if your optic goes down? Are you going to be able to hit the target now? So I've never been a big fan of optics. I just never been a fan. Maybe call me old school, whatever it is. But when it comes to a pistol, I like the kind of the thin profile and I don't want any extra stuff just hanging off of it. It's like this. I think Clint Smith says it the best. Is the more crap you put on the gun, the more crap's going to fall off, and the more crap's going to break. So stop putting crap on your gun, right? And I'm all about that. I am 100% about that. I don't put crap on my gun. I mean, I have one gun with my light on it, and I have another gun with a laser on it, and those are for home defense and kind of nighttime. But all my carry guns, what I usually have on me on a daily basis, no crap on them. The only crap on them is night sights, and that's about it. So there you have it. So that's my thoughts on iron sights. The more crap on your gun, the more crap falls off or more crap breaks, right? So what else we got? Any more questions out there for me? We're coming up to 30 minutes here. So my wife has bad eyes, so the irons are horrible for her. So I have the co-witness on a carry pistol. I'm glad you keep the co-witness on there. Like I said, there's just a lot of people that they remove the sights once they put optic on. It's like they've been so dependent on those optics. It's like the thing's going to break, you're going to lose a battery. So I always have that backup iron sights on it. And it goes, how many rounds should you carry for CCW? Well, it depends on what you're comfortable with. So it depends on where you live. I mean, it depends on the gun that you carry. Out here, do you run a custom trigger or run factory? I run factory triggers. I don't mess with any of my triggers, man. I don't mess with any of my triggers. The gun works fine as it is. You just need how to work with it. And the only one that has a custom trigger on it would be, my 92X. And that's just, it came with a better trigger job than your standard Beretta 92. The double action pull is just a sweet, nice, smooth, crisp pull. And then the single action is just phenomenal. But next to that, that's the only gun that I have that has any type of fancy triggers on it, but that came from the box. I don't actually ever install triggers on my guns, so I don't ever do that. So, see, there was a question I thought I was answering there. Let's see. No, I didn't see that quite. Nope. What's up, Arsenal? Good to see you, man. Oh yeah, I tell you what, the other 92X I love my Berettas in general. They're just, even the standard Beretta, yeah, it's a heavy trigger, but it's always been kind of a nice trigger. I mean, there's just a little bit of you get used to like the little slack in it and stuff like that too. But the 92X, man, my Centurion, God, that trigger is beautiful. And it's great because it's not like it's a super heavy trigger. It's still heavy enough. It's just a long, smooth, gently, it like glides, just beautiful trigger pull. And then the reset is just a great reset, and the single action is just beautiful. I mean, I love that trigger so much. I mean, I can compare that single action to my 1911. I'd probably say that's better than my 1911 single action. But like, I took my wife out to the range, and she loves the feel of the Centurion in her hand. She loves the Centurion in her hand, but she can't shoot it because that trigger actually scares her because of how light it is. That's the question I was going to ask. So when it comes to carry mags for CCW, so what do you carry? On my daily, I usually carry a minimum of 2 backup magazines on me. I carry my gun, which has a magazine in it, and then I carry 2 backup magazines on me. Now, the reasons I'm carrying the backup magazines is not because I want a barrel full of bullets. The reasons I carry the backup magazines is in case there's a malfunction, or if there's a or if there's a double feed or something like that. The only way to clear a double feed is to rip out the magazine, clear the slide, and insert another magazine. Or any crazy thing is if the base of the gun gets caught on something and rips off, the rounds come out. Well, you just push that button and it pops out and put another one in, right? So that's primarily why I carry the backup magazines. Now in my state, in Connecticut out here, we're only allowed to carry 10-round magazines. So at the end of the day, I carry about 30 rounds is what I carry on me on a daily basis. Now, when I go hiking or when I go hunt, out on my little trails, or I go fishing and I'm going to be outdoors for a while, I throw at least 2 extra magazines in the bag that I have with me. So at the end of the day, it's 34. That's 50 rounds that I have out there, because all my magazines, regardless of who they are, they're 10-round magazines. Unless I go with my 1911, those are 8-round magazines. But it all comes down to you. It's like, in the most average civilian-based firefight, now I've never carried a Markov. They're kind of cool looking though, and I like the history of them. But basically, is when it comes to most civilian firefights, it comes down to, it's not like you're not getting attacked by pygmies and ninjas being attacked from every different direction. The trick to winning a gunfight is, 1, not getting shot, and 2, hitting them before they hit you. All right. So if you hit them before they hit you, one of the things going to happen. They're probably going to run away. Now, a lot of times they're looking for easy targets. So if you look at all these concealed carry stuff, the second they see someone else with a gun, they run. All right. And they just run as fast as they possibly can. And if they do shoot, they're running away and they're shooting in the air and over their head, hoping to hit you, because they don't want to be anywhere near that dude with a gun. So when it comes down to it, if you're find yourself in a civilian firefight, you are probably gonna just have one mag that you'll be using for semi-automatic. That's probably all you'll have to need that's actually in your gun. But it's always good to have extra in case, 1, yes, in case you do run out of ammo, but 2, mainly for malfunctions. And that's the main reason I carry the backup magazines. Like right now, because I'm in a t-shirt and shorts, I got my Glock 30 on, and I have a total of 2 mags including that. So I have a total of 30 rounds of 45 ACP. And that's perfectly fine for me. Let's see. Does the higher bore of the 626 bother you any? Not at all, man. As a matter of fact, I prefer the higher bore guns. Because with my big hands, especially when it comes to low bore guns, I don't know what it is with Glock, but I mean, it just cuts the crap out of my hand. Is when I just hold it normal, it's a thumb sword, it just cuts the heck out of my hand. So anytime I have a higher bore, it fits my hand better. I've never had an issue with high bore pistol ever. I don't know, all these people talk crap about high bore. Oh, the bore's too high. It's like, well, so what? The thing still shoots. It still hits the target. You just need to be able to pull the trigger and be able to adjust to it. But yeah, I've never had an issue with the high bore. I actually prefer higher bore pistols. Right? I really do. So I love the SIG profile, the classic SIG profile, even the 320 profiles. It's great. How to properly use them was one of my first videos watching after I just got my Kimber 1911. Made me subscribe on the spot. Hey, no problem, Jason. Yeah, I made that video a while ago because, as I know a lot about 1911s. Joe, what's up, Jay? I know a lot about 1911s just because, in the Marine Corps at the time, is you either carried a Beretta or a 1911, or if you're like me, you carried your rifle. It's what we had, but the regular people carried Berettas, and all the special operations guys carried 1911s. Whichever branch of service they had a 1911 on their hip. So I fell in love with the 1911 from an early age. I guess you could say that, with my gun career, I guess you could say. And then when my unit was getting deployed for a 3rd time, and I was actually getting ready to get out of the Marine Corps because I just didn't want to reload. I was going to Massimo. What's up, George Washington? Good to see you. I didn't want to re-enlist again, so basically we were taken out of our unit, and we were staying home because we were getting out around the same time that our unit would be deployed. So we were fapped out to what's called TTECG Mojave Viper. So in 29 Palms, out in the back in the desert, in the playground, in the 29 Palms, the backyard as we call it, they have an entire urban mount city that they created about there. That's urban tactics, urban warfare, that they created out of like Conex boxes. They have mosques out there and stuff like that. And every unit that was getting ready to deploy would have to go through that and spend a week out there. And they needed experienced people that had actually been in combat to actually play the roles of the insurgents, to be the Op 4 is what they call the opposing force. So, and I was the Op 4, and we actually got to grow up full beards. We got all relaxed grooming standard cards, which is great. Every time a gun here, someone would yell at us at the rear, we'd pull out our card, and they couldn't do anything about it. and we dress up in civilian clothing, or we wear the robes, the dish dashas. We throw the, our wraps on, and we go out there and we dress like insurgents. Now, what happened is there was a one day they had a couple sergeants. Our sergeants came out to ask for a volunteer. Like, we need volunteers. We need two volunteers, or no, they needed three volunteers. So at the time, I was like, all right, it's just need another insurgent hit. So I guess we get to set up another ambush. Who knows what we get to do this time, or pretend that we're putting IEDs out or something like that. And he says, and they said, I want three infantry guys. So if you're infantry, I need three of you right now. So I raised my hand. A couple of the guys raised their hands. Then we got selected, and I actually was sent to work in the armory for the actual 29 Palms Armory. And it was great because I still had the relaxed grooming standards cards, and I was still TTECG Mojave Viper. So when everyone else had to show up in their camis, I was still wearing jeans, boots, and a button-up shirt, all right, and or a t-shirt or something like that with a full beard, and I was working in an armory. I was in charge of the AK-47s that we're using. We had a BFA. That's basically when you shoot blanks, it's an adapter. It needs the gas pressures in order. It needs the gas pressure of the round, leaving the muzzle in order for the bolt to work. If you're using blanks, you need some sort of BFA in there to allow it to work. So what we would do is we had AKs with BFAs in it. So it was my chart, me and two other guys, we were completely in charge of the AK-47s. Now, it just so happened that in that armory was actually the Marine Corps shooting team of 29 Palms, California. That was where they kept all their stuff. Their chrome M16s were for long range, which were like 20 pounds each. And all of their pistols were 1911s, customized 1911s with beautiful triggers. So when I was in the armory and nothing was going on, what do you think was in my hands all the time that I was always working with? What do you think I got to take out and shoot and stuff like that a lot? So I kind of fell in love with my 1911s. And then I went online. I was looking for. I didn't mind volunteering for that. That was great, man. I loved it. I was in jeans and a t-shirt. I was active duty, and I was in an armory in charge of guns, and I didn't have to go out into the field. And when they're out in the field and sleeping in the field overnight, we just go back to our rooms, right? So basically, is what happened is I was looking for a good video on 1911s, and I didn't see a whole lot of videos on the basics of a 1911. I was just like, okay, am I doing something different? So I looked on, and I just looked and looked. I couldn't find a good video on it. I saw like Vickers did a few things, and a couple of other people did a couple of things. I'm like, you know what? Someone needs to do a video on basically how to use a 1911. So I elected myself, and I made a video on how to how to properly use a 1911. And then that video is just, to this day, is my most popular video. It should be coming up to 1 million views hopefully soon. And that's just going like crazy. And that's my most popular video to this day. So it's a good video. So what does that tell me? Most popular video today? It tells me that a lot of people like 1911s, right? And a lot of people don't know how to use 1911, so they want a video that shows them how to do it. So you guys are welcome. I'm glad I made that video, and I'm glad you guys learned that. And literally, if it wasn't for that video and how to carry a full-size pistol, it was my first time I ever did that. My channel never would have gone off. Those two videos brought my channel to life. It really did. I remember when I started my channel, there's a couple guys that started the channel with me, and we kind of had like a pact, like, oh, you like me and you like my videos, I like your videos, because both of us had like maybe 10 followers, 7 followers, 10 followers, and we just wanted to get whatever. So whenever he released a video, I'd like it, and whenever I'd release a video, he liked it. Then I released my how to carry a full-size pistol video, and shortly after that, I released the basics on how to carry how to use a 1911 video. And he had to release some videos, and I like his stuff. But then I noticed is my channel was just taking off by the hundreds, by the thousands, and more people were going, but his was just still kind of staying still within like the hundreds. So I'm really thankful for that video. I'm glad I made that for you guys, and I'm glad a lot of people have learned on that video. So 911s rock. They do absolutely rock. And the good news is too, they're as heavy as rock. So if they do, if you run out of ammo, completely out of ammo, they can hit them really hard too. Series 70 or Series 80. I don't know what the Rock Island is. I'm not a aficionado by looking at the Rock Island. Get to see the 1911 make a recent resurgence for first time. Yeah, I hear you, man. It was Glock all over the place. Yeah, Series 70. Yep. But it's like when it came to with one thing that I noticed is you'll see a trend when it comes to laws and stuff like that. So when there's laws that come out regarding like ammunition laws and stuff like that, a lot of people like to do they like to have a lot of ammo just so they can shoot a lot and stuff like that. That flies out here. They like having those ammo, but when those ammo laws come into place and you're only allowed to have 10 round magazines, you have like a Glock 17, for example, and it's a 17 round magazine. Um, well, when those laws come, you can now only carry 10 rounds in that 17 round magazine, and you can only get 10 round magazines in it. So it's just like, wow. So I'm getting like, I have a magazine that's like, 3/4 full and there's nothing in there and it's just like extra weight and it's annoying. But the thing that you notice is what people do is when those laws come into place, people start saying, well, instead of carrying a lot of bullets and a ton of bullets with extra magazines, I'm going to carry bigger bullets because I can only have minimum of 10 round magazines. So I'm going to carry bigger bullets. And it just so happens a gun that fits perfectly for bigger bullets that has under 8 round magazine or under 10 round magazines or up to 10 round magazines are 1911s. So it's kind of funny how that works. It's like, yeah, those laws come into place and people go out and get 1911s and they go get their big bores and stuff like that. And it's just a history of guns, how it works, right? So there you go. I've been talking on and on. I'm doing pretty good. I think I'm just like talking nonstop. But this keto's working good. I literally feel so good with this keto. It's ridiculous how good I feel with the keto. It really does. So, and when I'm on my other stuff, it's not the greatest, but here it's great. So, hey, you too, Jason. Let's see. JC bought a 1911. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with 1911, man. New Jersey that have a 10 round magazine must love 1911s. Now they do, and all the people are trash talking 1911s back in the day, and a few years back, when their states turned 10 round magazine laws, all of a sudden they're looking for a video on the basics of how to use a 1911, and they find me, the guy that trash talks their favorite gun for a long time. They're like, oh crap, this guy, but okay, I'll watch his video. Then they realize like, oh, this gun's actually pretty easy to use if you know how to use it, and I kind of like it. And this guy kind of, maybe he was saying good things about the 1911 from the start, and maybe I should have listened more. So I'm hoping with that video, I brought more people to the 1911 platform. I really do hope I brought a lot more people to the 1911 platform video because it's such a great gun. It's such a fun gun. It's a collector gun. It's just fun to shoot. Great for competition, great for carry. It's a great all-around gun. And if you haven't shot one, you're missing out, guys. They are just such good guns. So, and just the history behind them, they're just such good guns. Yeah, lived there for 50 years, time for a change. I hear you, man. I hear you. So I don't even think in Jersey they're allowed to carry jacket hal points. If I remember, they're only allowed to use ball ammunition. So, all right, let's see. Any love for 10 millimeter 1911? Not really, man. So I've never shot a 10 millimeter 1911. So I just never have. I've never been, 10 millimeter is a cool cartridge, but I just kind of never jumped on the 10 millimeter bandwagon, right? If I want a bigger round, I'm going to go with the 357 Magnum or 44 Magnum, right? So I'll go with if I'm going to be in serious bear country, not black bear country like grizzly country, I'm going 44. I'm not going 10 millimeter, right? So that's what I'm going to be going with if I were going to a situation like that. So for 10 millimeter, it never really appealed to me. I know, and not to mention how expensive the rounds are, which is ridiculous. And this is before there's an ammo shortage. Now I don't even know if you can find it in some states. So, but anyway, guys, we have been talking for a while now, so we're going on our 40 minutes. I usually like to keep these videos within 40 minutes, give or take. So I am going to be finishing up this video. So I've seen no Polymer Sun Compact Conversion. I have not, Kimber, or I have not Arsenal. I never even heard of that. So never even heard of that. So I'm going to get 500 Magnum. There you go. Grizzly Country, 44 Magnum, 500 Magnum, good to go. Honestly, if I'm in Grizzly Country, I'm going to have a 12 gauge with slugs is what I'm going to be carrying with me, right? So sub, not sud. Yep. So anyway, guys, I am going to be calling it a night. And once again, guys, it is great to see you guys in here. I love doing these chats with you. Even if I don't have the questions where, I like to do these where I take all the questions for the week that I've had in that week and I bring them in here and answer them. But honestly, if I don't have those questions, it's okay because I still get to come in here and hang out with you guys and answer your questions and talk guns and, all that other stuff and try to motivate you however you can, teach you about 1911s or talk about zombie apocalypse, which is great, right? Anyway, guys, so thanks for joining me again tonight, all right? It's always good to see you guys. So remember, guys, it is our responsibility to take care of each other and protect each other, guys. Peace.